Alright, it's May, and in a tradition of just videos I tend to make around the time of the month of May, I'm going to talk about new games for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Yep, new 16-bit video games. There's Pier Solar, which technically isn't new anymore, but it was definitely released after the lifespan of the Sega Genesis. And if you were to look up the Magical Game Factory, or the company Watermelon, and perhaps even the name Pier Solar, you'll come to the Magical Game Factory, which sells Pier Solar, but it's also selling a new game from Watermelon called Paprium. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Paprium. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. Well, they're selling it in the form of pre-orders, and there's some of it's already sold out. And this new game is kind of a beat-em-up style game with some role-playing characteristics added to it. It looks pretty impressive if you like games like Streets of Rage or Final Fight. This looks like a pretty good game, and even if that's not your favorite genre, I think this looks really impressive. And it's for the Sega Genesis, and also there's Pier Solar. I'm just going to take a look here. Let's see, close out of that, and that's right, in real time I am looking up this stuff, and, wasting time telling you what I'm doing. Maybe I should edit that out. Nah, nobody's listening anyway. Okay, so, Pier Solar that's available. Well, just about everything's currently sold out or in pre-order, so there's going to be some, I guess, reprints coming out soon, and it's all in the form of pre-orders. You might want to consider getting some Dreamcast versions of Pier Solar, but it's also available for the Sega Genesis. Well, currently sold out. I think there's a reprint of the Genesis one in pre-order form, and that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty impressive. I recommend anybody look into Pier Solar or Paprium if you're interested in playing old Sega Genesis games, or in the case of Pier Solar, it's also available for the Dreamcast and PC-DVD. Yeah, more pre-orders for that. It was already out, so I guess that's a pre-order for a more recent printing. Yeah, PC-DVD, that's pretty cool. And Dreamcast and Sega Genesis. But that's not all I'm here to talk about. Alright, so CollectorVision. Let's talk about CollectorVision games. This looks pretty cool. Anyway, something for you to look for is Sydney Hunter and the Caverns of Death, which will soon be out for the Super Nintendo. If you support it on Kickstarter, you might be getting a copy yourself of this game. I will be, and I look forward to playing this. This looks really cool. Looks like it'll be fun. They'll probably, they'll probably make future versions of this on the Sega Genesis and Sega CD. That's also something I look forward to, especially a Sega CD version. Of course, the Genesis cartridge is Genesis cartridge is also an excellent way to play this game. I keep missaying things and coughing, and maybe I should do another take. Nah, this is good enough. As I said before, nobody's probably listening. I'm really wearing that joke out, but something that's also interesting, and moving on to the Sega Genesis from the Super Nintendo, I am really looking forward to playing Sydney Hunter on the Super Nintendo, but I'm also looking forward to being able to play Sydney Hunter on the Sega Genesis with the power-based converter, or perhaps just plain simple dusting off the old Sega Master System and playing it on the Sega Master System, because Sydney Hunter and the Sacred Tribe apparently is going to be developed or coming soon for the Sega Master System. Sydney Hunter and the Sacred Tribe. That sounds kind of cool. You can look that one up. Just look up CollectorVision and see some of the stuff they're doing. They're also doing a game called Justice Beaver. Not to be confused with Justin Beaver. This is Justice Beaver that I'm talking about. Yeah, you might want to look up that as well. Just look up CollectorVision. They're doing some pretty cool stuff. So, if you're all depressed waiting for new Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive, and Super Nintendo games, and maybe even some 8-bit classics that you, well, games that you could play on your classical 8-bit systems like the Sega Master System, well, there are some games coming for those systems, such as some Sydney Hunter games from CollectorVision, and Watermelon will be printing new versions of Pier Solar. And then there's a Paprium game from Watermelon as well. So look up CollectorVision and the magical game factory that sells Watermelon games, and just look that stuff up. There's some impressive stuff out there. And feel free to check out some of my videos. I've been getting back in the habit of editing more videos, talking about video games and the multimedia multiverse. So feel free to check out some more of my videos. And check out my videos, please, if you're listening. And as established earlier, you're probably not. Oh well. Well, dust off the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and play some new games on old game systems. And watch my videos. Come on, you know you wanna. You know you want to. You think it's kind of depressing that there are no new video games for the great 16-bit video game systems? Well, guess what? There are still new games being made for those classic 16-bit video game systems like the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo.